I think in this day and age, a lot of people are very quickly trying to figure out, how they can benefit, where they can find value, how they can progress. And while that's important, what I've always found to be, or work for me rather, is figuring out how I can be of value to other people before I try to figure out how they can be of value to me.
On this podcast, and on this podcast, what we do, we talk to movers and shakers, people making an impact in real life. And today I'm in Torrance.
Yes.
My guy Vernon and I, we actually hit the road to come see you.
Where'd you guys come from?
We came from
The Valley.
The Valley.
What part?
Hollywood, Burbank.
Burbank.
Yeah. That's a little bit of a distance, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was like 40 minutes, a little drive, but
Thank you.
It was a nice drive. We just got in Tesla real quick.
Okay, I am mad at that.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we had to pull up. Wanted to talk to you. So guys, look, this is somebody that's definitely making an impact in real life. Milan Zoe, welcome to the podcast. So we met at I guess was it like a mastermind or just like a women's panel?
Shout out to our girl Amira V. She hosts a monthly panel series in conjunction with Soho House.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a great room, really great women, great information, a lot of education. Great vibes.
Yeah, and I think one thing that you mentioned to me when we met, you were like, you said something like, are you fine being like one of the only guys in here? I thought that was really
I did.
So,
he came up and started talking to me. I said, I didn't even know there was any men in here. I didn't know y'all was invited tonight.
It was like 8 of us. It was like 8 of us. So yeah, I was drawn to you. We connected. I did some research, and then you got a nonprofit,
yes,
right? So I definitely want to dig into that, as well as you doing a bunch of other things as well. So why don't we just kick it off? I'd love to know a little bit about you, what you got going on, how you found yourself in your current position, and we can just start talking about the nonprofit.
Absolutely. So my name is Milan Zoe. I'm originally from New York, born and raised. I went to the illustrious Howard University. Shout out to HU. So I spent quite a bit of time in DC. Right before I graduated, I started my career at BET. So I was there for about 6 years and moved to LA, I think 3 years in, working for BET, moved to LA, had a great boss. I was like, hey, I want to keep my job, but I want to move across country. And he was like, all right, cool. So that's what I did. And I've been in LA for about 8 years now. I stepped away from BET and started my own production company. So I now have Laniland Productions, and then shortly thereafter started changing the narrative, which is the nonprofit. Gotcha.
So what actually brought you to LA? Like, why'd you want to switch from being on the East Coast to the West Coast?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm an East Coast girl to the day I die, definitely. However, for me, I always want to compete against the best. And so that's why I went to Howard. At the time, it was the number one HBCU. And it's the same reason I came to LA. I knew I wanted to win in the entertainment industry. And if I was going to win, I wanted to win against the best. So I came to the Mecca.
Yeah, you're right. LA is definitely the Mecca for entertainment, media, and all things creative.
Yeah.
So what was it about you wanting to start your own production company? Why did you want to leave BET for that?
Absolutely.
What were you able to do?
BET was a wonderful experience, and I'm always, honored and blessed that I got to launch my career there. For me, I wanted to have more control of the content that I created and disseminated. I just wasn't happy with what I was doing with my skills.
Yeah.
I feel like the talents that God gives you is his gift to you, and what you do with them is your gift back to him. And I just didn't feel like I was fulfilling my calling at BET. So I stepped away so I could just, I just have a little more control.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to look at it. I mean, the way that you kind of explain like your calling and how you give it back.
Yeah.
So obviously having your own production company, you're definitely way more flexible.
Yes.
For, like what you can create.
Yes.
What you can bring to the market, the ideas and things like that. So what are some of the things that you worked on or that you are working on?
Yeah. So I got, I want to say lucky, but the proper word is blessed. As soon as I left BET, I did some pretty big contracts. I immediately started producing, directing content for like Hennessy, Nike, Veuve. So I was really lucky in that regard. And then most recently, I sold a docuseries to NBC on gentrification in America. And so I'm really excited for that. We just signed a director, and that should be going into production soon. So I'm excited about it.
No, that sounds really dope.
Yeah.
So a docuseries, how many episodes is that?
So we sold it as a 10-episode series, but technically at the end of the day, they have creative control. So they may still decide to visit 10 cities, which is how we pitched it. It may be 9, it may be 11. As long as the show gets done, I don't really care. I just want to go into production. It's been a minute. I mean, technically, we sold it a little over a year ago, but you know how production works.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, we just signed a director, so it should start moving pretty quickly.
So for those that are like watching right now, and you know they want to do something like you just did with the docuseries, what are like some of the components they would need to package up to sell it?
Yeah, gosh, it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, packaging is pretty standard. You can find information on that pretty much anywhere. I'd say what's most important are relationships. You know, there's a lot of people that have really great projects, really great art and all the things, but they just don't necessarily have the relationships or the connections, which is actually where the nonprofit comes into play.
Yeah. Which is amazing. So what are some of the things that I guess a nonprofit is going to solve, right? So there obviously was a reason for you to do it.
Yeah.
So what are the things that you're looking to solve with the nonprofit?
Absolutely. So with changing the narrative, when it was birthed, it was done so with a couple of things in mind: education, encouragement, empowerment. From the education standpoint, we're really interested in teaching specifically youth, and more specifically minority youth, about what it is to kind of be artists outside of the classroom, and even past just being artists, entrepreneurs, just kind of being able to own their own in whatever capacity, whatever that means. So that could be writers, producers, content creators, fashion designers, entrepreneurs, CEOs, the things that for us typically come off as being an anomaly. I want changing the narrative to be part of the solution and creating it as the standard of the norm.
Yeah, but it sounds like you really well, two things I pick up on. One, it sounds like you're extremely passionate about it. Yes. And then two, it's like you're combining that passion with the platform and then giving opportunities. So what are some of the things that you really want to do that are really big on, maybe you guys met?
Yeah. So we just did a partnership with Thinkers USA. We're actually in the Thinkers office.
Thinkers office right now.
We're in the Thinkers office right now. Yeah, exactly. But no, we're really excited about that partnership specifically. They brought myself and the nonprofit on specifically to lead women and minority-led initiatives. So we just did a call to action that we're going to put out, and that we're going to actually be looking for different initiatives, community organizations that are trying to do things to help, just build our greater community and, just figure out how we can step in and help.
So in today's landscape, how difficult do you think that is for younger creatives and people to have an opportunity to do things?
Yeah. I mean, it's very difficult. Opportunities don't come easy. Yeah. More specifically to women and people of color or any minority, that could be LGBTQ or, I don't know, anybody that kind of falls in that, minority demographic, the system's not set up for us. And I don't want to get too deep into it because that'll be another hour-long conversation, but the system's not set up for us to win. And so someone like myself and Thinkers, with the resources that we have, we want to make sure that we're giving back.
So how important are those relationships, right? Because on one hand, you got to establish the relationship. So, where can somebody go to get a relationship? What are different rooms that they should consider being in? And then what are you doing with the relationship? Yeah. Right? Because if you're someone that's anxious or maybe someone that just feels like it's a lot, how do you start to navigate? What are some of the things that someone could do? Yeah. One thing I really preach is social capital. I feel like in this day and age, that's a good word. Thank you. Yeah. I think in this day and age, a lot of people are very quickly trying to figure out, how they can benefit, where they can find value, how they can progress. And while that's important, what I've always found to be, work for me rather, is figuring out how I can be of value to other people before I try to figure out how they can be of value to me. Yeah, I agree with that. I think when you position yourself as a resource to others, they're genuinely interested in helping you because you've helped them. Like I said, there's social capital there. And then there's just good energy and karma and all of the things, you reap what you sow, you get back what you
put out. So, that's what I'm really excited about what we're doing from a community standpoint with the nonprofit, and then Thinkers more specifically. They've been built to really help the small business owner as it relates to resources specifically. So it could be resume building, it could be media prep, interview preparation, business plans, budgets, all the things that you would need when our two entities come together. It's a one-stop shop.
That sounds like a lot of value right there for sure.
Definitely.
So how would somebody position themselves to give social capital, right? So if they're learning about this for the first time, maybe they're maybe they're a singer, maybe they're an actor, maybe they're a podcaster, YouTuber, something like that. They have something to give to the marketplace. They're just learning about the social capital right now.
Right.
What's a good way for them to put some social capital together and then create a relationship that obviously may benefit them?
Absolutely. I just say, kind of what I mentioned earlier about the gifts that we're given and then what we do with them, right? So if you're a singer and you're trying to create your own album, great. That should absolutely be your focus. But if you have the time, go do a workshop at a local, boys and girls club and find, kids that are interested in singing and go give a vocal lesson or, just things that you can do to position yourself in the community, not just as an artist, but as a contributor and a thought leader.
Yeah.
And people will naturally look to help build what you got going on too.
Yeah, and in real time, this what we're doing right now with this podcast is a great example of social capital. Literally, it's the second time that we met right now, right? So I'm providing value. She's giving me value. It's a full value exchange, and you guys are receiving the value.
Yeah.
So let's talk about relationship maintenance.
Okay.
Right, because I feel like people can they may be able to establish the relationship, and the intention may be for them to actually get something from the relationship. Yeah. But how do you maintain a relationship?
Interestingly enough, I think people a lot of times have a lot of negative things to say about social media, right? And that's a whole other conversation. But I think it really provides opportunity for people to stay connected in a way that they've never been able to do before. So before, back in the day, you had to actually write somebody a letter, and then, you can call somebody, and then there became email. But now you don't even have to move outside of the comfort of your own home, your own bed. And you can really tap in, you can support, you can you can share, you can reach out, So I just feel like there's no excuses these days. There's always ways to stay connected if that's your genuine intention.
Yeah. And then what's the cadence for that, right? So how often should somebody want to stay connected?
I think it's a little arbitrary, right? It depends on kind of what the situation is. Interestingly enough, my girl Steph, who's behind the camera with us today, she did this makeup, she told me a story about how she was working for Nike, and she was working in the store, and she knew she wanted to do makeup, she wanted to be on set. And so she kind of figured out going up to headquarters and figuring out who the right person was. And she got in touch with them, and she sat down and did an interview and didn't necessarily hear back. And every 2 to 3 weeks, she would make sure that she followed up and she sent a message or she DM'd them and reached out. And she did that over and over and over and over again for months, and then worked for quite a bit of time for Nike on set doing her thing. So she went from being in the store to really being able to do what she was passionate about. And it was really about that persistency. Yeah. So when she told me that story, which she actually told me today, I was really impressed.
Yeah, I think that's a good. Well, first of all, shout out to her, right? Shout out to Steph. I think that's a great story because it just shows about the persistence, and there's never one time or 2 times or 10 times you could do something that's going to bring opportunity. It might just be a year.
Yeah, and it's really just about putting that work in. It's funny. I always make this joke to some of my girlfriends. They'd be like, "Man, I can't find a man, and I want to get married. I want to have kids." And I'm like, "Girl, you be in the house. He's not gonna find you on your couch. You're not gonna break in and be like, 'Hey, I'm here. Marry me.' You got to be outside. You gotta be persistent. You got to show up." So.
I would agree with that. Definitely. I'm definitely not going to find a wife in the house. I'm in the house.
Okay, you got to go outside so you can find your wife.
You know what I'm saying?
Listen, there was some real eligible, smart, beautiful women at that event. I don't know who else you talked to.
I just talked to you. She was the only one. She was the only one, yo.
I'm not single, so you can't talk to me. But
no, for sure.
You got to go back and scroll who at that event. I had some friends there.
100%.
Some pages.
No, but that's, you really hit the nail on the head, right?
Yeah.
You were saying that you got to put yourself in certain rooms. You got to go to situations. I think that panel is the one that Amira does is a good place that you can be.
Absolutely.
Because who's going to be there, right? So obviously the people that are there are elevated, right? Because they're doing something.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know them.
Yeah.
They're there for a reason.
Yeah.
And then you're in a room with a bunch of people that are intentional because they want to receive the messages.
Absolutely.
So then you're almost curating your own environment.
Absolutely.
You know?
And to that point, I just want to share this. I love rooms like that. And this is why. A lot of times we look to build up, right? Mm-hmm. And so I remember Issa Rae saying something at one point about networking across instead of always trying to network up.
Yeah.
People are always trying to figure out, like, okay, I want to get to the CEO of this company and I want to go corporate and go here. But there's something to be said for being in rooms like that where you have people that are like-minded, that have, equal energies and there's so much synergy, and just finding connections with people that are on your level and just building together. I did an event the other night. It was a sit-down dinner in partnership with Thinkers. We were sponsored by Tiffany & Co. and Joe Malone. It was really beautiful. Mira was there as well. She was one of our honorees, along with some other ladies. And, what I really reminded them of is that they're part of the new regime. Mm. The tides are changing in Hollywood and entertainment, and they are, each one of them, for different reasons, are gatekeepers and will be gatekeepers in the new army of those of us taking over Hollywood. And so I think networking across with, again, people that are on your level and not always necessarily looking for, the next level is important.
What up, y'all? It's Brennan Boyd, and I want to tell you all about the TMT Wealth Club. Now, this Wealth Club, it's a mastermind that's going to help you get to the next level. So maybe you want to learn about the rental game. Maybe you want to learn about how to buy businesses. Maybe you want to learn about how to get your personal credit and your business credit structured properly. Maybe you want to learn about business funding. Maybe you want to learn how to actually put a funnel together, or why you actually need continuity money. Well, we're going to help you in your business and also give you business accountability to get you to the next level. And every single week, you're going to have access to a different 6, 7, or 8-figure earner to level you up. So what is it to debate, right? What is it to even think about? What you want to do is click that link below, join the TMT Wealth Club, and get access to this information every single week to level you up and take you to the next level. All right? I'll see you in the group.
I think collaboration is big.
Yeah.
For sure. Like you said, networking and collaborate, see what you can bring to the marketplace.
Yeah.
Starting to put more things into the marketplace, right? Just put more energy out there, put more value out there. So this year specifically, 2022, what are some of the real impactful things you feel like the nonprofit is really going to be able to do?
Man, so much I want to do. We're going to be able to do, it's a different story. One of the things that's really important to me is we're working on developing a scholarship fund. It's one thing to preach and talk about the things that you want to see in the world. It's another to position yourself as a solution to the problem. And so what we're going to do, like I said, is kind of develop the scholarship fund and then seek out to find either artists or entrepreneurs that are looking to create businesses that are really in line with the morals and the values of the nonprofit, and not just talk about it, but be able to put some backing behind it and see some things coming to fruition.
How can they be found? Like, how can the nonprofit find them? So how can they put themselves in position to be found?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So we obviously can be found. We're at changingthenarrative.com, so you can totally find us there. _changingthenarrative on Instagram. You can reach out to me personally. It's at Miss Milan Zoe, MISSMILANZOE. I read all of my DMs. I know some people be acting real Hollywood and stuff, but I definitely, check for everything. Shoot us an email. Anything that comes to the table, I'm always going to take the time to look at it. If someone takes the time to send it to me, I'm always going to at least, put some eyes on it. If it works and there's something we can do to support, then, like I said, we're actively right now looking for initiatives and, just like I said, community organizations. And it just, everyone's at a different level. So it could be that you have a full game plan and you're missing one piece. I need a location. I need a production crew. I need, some sort of resource. Or it could be, hey, Milan, I have this idea, but I don't know where to start. We are open. We just, again, want to be, touching the ground, touching the people, and just be a part of the big picture.
Yeah, so that was one of the next questions I was going to ask you. Like, how should someone need to come? You know, so if you can come just with the idea or with a package.
We're open. We understand that everyone doesn't have the same talents. Not everyone knows how to put together a business plan. Not everybody knows how to organize logistics, but sometimes it's just about having a really great idea. Fortunately, like I said, between Thinkers and Change the Narrative, we have some amazing resources. So that's the least of our worries. We just need to know where the help is needed so we can move forward.
So if someone's watching this right now and they wanted to do a nonprofit, right? Mm-hmm. So they're like, yeah, I want to do that too.
Lordy.
What are some of the things that you can do in a nonprofit that you can't do if you don't have a nonprofit? Like you have the same ideas and the same type of energy, but you're not doing it in a nonprofit landscape.
Yeah.
What does a nonprofit allow you to do?
Well, there's a lot of resources for nonprofits just because they're created, for impact. They're created for give back. They're created to help the community, whereas for-profit is, obviously going to operate in a little more of a selfish manner. So there's just a lot more, like I said, grants and resources specifically for nonprofits. But that is not to, have anybody believe that nonprofits don't make money. I think that's like a common misconception.
That's what I want you to
it's still a business. Absolutely. You gotta make money to continue to operate. Where much is given, much is required. You have to be being fed in order to feed. But I would say that salaries and stuff, at least the way that we operate, are at the bottom of the barrel. That's not even right now with our nonprofit a conversation. Everything that we make, we bring in is used to give back and really create impact.
All right, so I got an interesting question for you. So, with like Web3, NFTs, metaverse, things like that, do you feel like you can be able to bring some of that into the nonprofit space? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So one thing that we are working on is creating some platforms for some financial literacy. We think that's really, really important, specifically in our community. It's something that's not really taught. We're not really educated on. But of course, we know there's so much money to be made.
Definitely.
So in that capacity, yes, I'm excited to kind of create, and we've, like I said, been in talks about creating these panels or platforms to talk about digital currency and NFTs and cryptos and all the things. I definitely think that there's some ways to make money with it. And I've actually sat down with two financial advisors separately to kind of get a different of opinion on how that can be incorporated, because it's such a new space. Transparently, I've been moving a little slower on it because I don't necessarily want to jump on the trends and do anything that would negatively impact us. But I definitely think there's space for it. So it's just something I'm still doing some research on.
Yeah, it would be very interesting because at the base level, when you're developing like an NFT project, it's the community, right? So if you have a really, really strong community that's involved with the nonprofit, you could definitely package different utilities along with the NFTs, which allow you to probably really make a different impact by making the primary impact. So that would be interesting if you guys would be able to kind of
absolutely. And I'd like to see what that looks like. Everything I've seen as it relates specifically to NFTs has just very much so been about profit, which it should be. It is a business. I haven't seen any nonprofits take advantage of that space in a way that was more concerned with the impact that the NFT was having rather than the profit. Yeah,
so it would be it would just really tie into whatever you want. You guys want the utility to be, and it could be multiple utilities.
Sounds like this is your area.
Yeah,
we got an offline about how we can create some NFT.
I know some information about it. It's only because to your point, you know how you're okay, I want to learn about see how I can put it into this world. Yeah. It's the same for me in marketing. Okay. You know what I mean? Because whether it's coaches, consultants, small business owners, things like that, they're not utilizing the technology yet.
Yes.
Because, it's foreign to them or the language doesn't make sense, so they can't really see how they can assimilate that into what they do.
Right.
So that's what I want to do. I want to learn as much as I can about it and then present it in a way that they can utilize. Because it really just comes down to the community. If you could build, that's why social media is also very important. And you taking people off of social and you're nurturing them in an email list or a group or something.
Or a newsletter, which is something, Danye, who was also one of our honorees and spoke on the panel that night. Yeah. That was something she shared with me recently, and I just thought it was a really great gem, so I'll reshare it, but I got to give credit where credit is. So Danye told me this.
Do it right there.
Shout out to Danye. She mentioned the idea of a newsletter, and it's something I had done a while back, and I stopped doing because of social media. I was like, oh, it's not necessary. I can, connect with everyone via social. But she asked me, she said, Milan, what happens if Instagram was to shut down? Where's your master list? How are you going to reach your people?
Yeah.
And so, we are working on a CTN newsletter coming soon.
Definitely. Like the more value you can give out, I think one of the biggest misconceptions, especially about email, is when people feel like, oh, I'm over emailing someone. But the thing is this, if you had a friend that called you a lot and that friend just gave you a lot of value every time they called, would you ever get aggravated? Nah, you'd be taking that phone.
Yeah, and honestly, you can open it or not open it. You could choose to unsubscribe.
Yep.
I don't think there's such thing as over emailing, especially when you're just giving of yourself and your knowledge and your information and, providing value.
All right, so we talked about NFTs a little bit, the nonprofit, the production company.
Yes.
But I want to talk a little bit about you a little bit.
Okay.
So what are some of the things you actually want to do? Topic. Yeah, let's talk about you outside of what you're doing professionally. What is like some of your goals and some of your dreams that you want to see come to the market? We got time.
I was like, there's so many. I was like, where do we start?
Because some people may know you from what we're sharing.
Yeah,
what are
absolutely.
An area.
Absolutely, an area of something I've always been passionate about for a long time is health and wellness. It's a space that I grew up as an athlete first and foremost, and another space where I feel like we don't necessarily have the same resources. So I own a company called Melanin. We're located in Culver City. It's a health and wellness space. We do facials and lashes. We specialize in body sculpting. And I really created Melanin as a safe space specifically for minority women to matriculate through their health and wellness journeys. The services are great. Interestingly enough, the bigger goal with Melanin is to create community. It's bigger than what we're doing inside the office. There's so many things that I want to do with that particular brand and that platform outside of the office. It could be health and wellness retreats and, yoga classes. And like I said, we could do conferences where we're doing Melanin finances, teaching financial literacy.
You just gave me, I can see the vision.
Can you see it?
All these colorful women coming together on a conference retreat, financial literacy going on.
That is
all
my
the shades.
goal with Melanin. Oh my gosh. I want to really just create community against or for rather women again that are considered to be minority, but if you really look at the numbers, we're actually the global majority.
No, for sure. Yeah.
And just reminding women that there's power in numbers and being able to bring them together and, like I said, educate, encourage, empower. So that would be some sort of collaboration between Changing the Narrative and Melanin and Thinkers. We're going to do something and just, and pull all the brands together.
That's definitely an NFT for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
100%.
You and these NFTs. Listen, you create it. I'm going to give you 15% when I sell it. Don't worry.
I got you.
Yo, that's crazy. Look, I'm going to call you right back. Guys, look, I just got the phone with one of my clients. She just told me she just had her first 5K day. But what's crazy about that is she only wanted to make 5K in a month. She did it in a day. There's so many more days left in the month. She's easily gonna have a 20K month. But what about you? Do you wanna make 10K in a month, 20K a month? How about 30K in a month? And what if I told you don't have to do it all by yourself? I will literally help you get there. So look, let me give you some sauce real quick. You only need 4 offers, right? You need a lead generation offer, a continuity offer, a core product offer, and also a high ticket offer. These mix of offers will help you easily get to 5-figure months. So what is there to think about? What is there to even hesitate about? Don't wait, don't hesitate. What you want to do is join my 4-month mentorship. It's called the Authority Builder. We're gonna help you build your brand and also scale your business. So click that link below, man. All right, I'll see you in class.
One of the underlying tones I can kind of hear with everything that you're sharing here is like ownership.
Yes.
So multiple businesses.
So important.
Being a leader in that space. So would you mind just talking to them a little bit more about the importance of ownership, equity, and why you should want to start a business, even if you don't want to go into full entrepreneurship, but just having a business alongside maybe a 9-to-5.
Yeah. So I'll say this, and I'm going to look directly into the camera when I say this. I mean, from Jim Crow to redlining, the system that we are forced to operate in was not created for us. So the answer is to create your own system, own everything that you do, control your narrative, be able to change your narrative, be able to tell your narrative, and create your own system, because this one, it was made for us to fail. So I just made a conscious decision at one point that I wasn't going to operate within the confines of what that was, and I was going to create my own, and here we are.
That's a good answer. I like that answer. All right, so we talked about a lot of stuff. You gave a lot of value. I've got a couple questions for you so we can kind of end it off. Right?
Okay. I'm nervous about these questions. The way you just looked at me.
Okay, this one good. You probably got the answer for this already. Okay. But you're starting a brand new school.
Okay.
It's your school, the Milan Zoe school.
Oh, I like that.
For little girls.
Add that to the checklist of things we need to do. The Milan Zoe school.
For little girls.
I love it.
What are 4 things? What are the 4 principles that they need to get from the school to graduate? Like, no, they have to get these 4 things, these 4 pillars. What do they have to do?
You're going to put me on the spot like that.
Yeah.
Self-discovery, I think, is really important. I think that people in general, more specifically women, we're told who we're supposed to be. We're told how we're supposed to show up, how we're supposed to dress, how we're supposed to talk, how we're supposed to respond. I just feel like women are given more rules and regulations on who they're supposed to be than anybody else. And it's funny, I say anybody else like there's anything other than men, right? But women, and like I said, more specifically, Black women. So in my school, I would like to leave a lot of space and opportunity for self-discovery, because the truth of the matter is we are so dynamic. We are not all the same. And even though we're positioned to be the same, specifically in media, which is, in part why I started changing the narrative, I want young girls that have the time to figure out who they are. So self-discovery, absolutely. We would do some sort of curriculum or classes on mental health. Of course, we know it's pretty, taboo in our community, but it's important. I don't want young girls to just assume that they're not allowed to be upset, they're not allowed to hurt, they're not allowed to be angry or feel or be happy or, whatever. It doesn't even have to be a negative emotion. So I would say mental health, hygiene. That's important. Okay. I think that's something that's really important on how women need to be shaped and molded before they go into the world.
One more spicy one.
I know. Jesus. Community.
Community is a big undertone. Yeah, I like that.
Just the importance of showing up, the importance of giving back, the importance of utilizing, again, what you have to serve a greater purpose, that things are bigger than just you as an individual, and that we're actually better as a collective. So I'd say community.
Okay. All right. What about emotional intelligence? What's emotional intelligence?
That's something even myself, I feel like God is still working on.
This question was for you.
Yeah. Still working on it. It's important. It's a tough subject, in my opinion, to tackle, because it's different for everybody. Mm-hmm. And then to what standards are we holding our young girls, and based on what experiences, right? So people's emotional intelligence is just based on what they've been through and where they've been, what they've been through. And so it's very hard to say, hey, this is what emotional intelligence should look like, because that's different for everybody based on their experience.
Yeah, that's a really good answer.
Yeah.
What about books, right? Mm-hmm. So are there like 2 or 3 books you would recommend people definitely check out that had an impact on your life?
Oof, so many. Rich Dad, Poor Dad was a really good one for me as it related to like finances. This one's going to be a little controversial. There's a book called Why Men Love Bitches. And you got to go check it out. And again, I know the title, it comes off controversial, but it did a lot for me as it related to, how to show up as a woman of power and what it is to set boundaries, and how men specifically, the book obviously talking more about personal relationships, but I think it leads to business as well, just being a woman in a male-dominated field. I feel like a lot of women are scared to set boundaries because they're fearful of kind of what that reaction, would be like. But the truth of the matter is men actually appreciate and respect boundaries. And so when you do that, even though that gets minimized to being a bitch, that's not actually what's happening. So again, I know it's an interesting title, but it's not actually derogatory.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a good explanation.
Yeah.
Are those two?
Yeah,
You got
I would
one
say
more?
those. I would say those. In the Bible, honestly, keep it a buck. That's the first, second, and third book.
There you go.
The Bible.
There you go. So maybe that's a lead into the last question we got. So I was gonna say, if there's one life hack that you know now that you wish you would have known when you were younger, maybe in college, or maybe someone else, they can get this hack from you and they can take action on it, what would that be?
Jesus.
I figured it was a lead in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I say that so seriously. For me, it's Jesus. I know everyone's, religions are different. But just understanding that there's a higher power and that it's bigger than you and that your story's already written. And so operating from a place of faith and not fear, because you know that God got you, and whoever God is to you, Allah, whoever God is to you, that, like I said, your story is already written, who you're supposed to be in this world, the impact that you're supposed to have, the connections that you're supposed to make, the movements that you're going to have, everything is already written. And so you're just operating from a space of, God, use me.
All right. So the last question I got for you is, what about your morning routine?
Okay.
How do you pour into yourself?
I love that you asked about that.
What's that look like? Everyone else looks different. I know I got a good one.
Okay.
And I'll be changing it up when it's necessary.
Yes.
But how do you load yourself up with the energy so you can tap into your day?
Absolutely. So I love that you asked that, because my morning routine was something that this year I really put a lot of time, attention, and dedication to. I really begun to understand how I started my day, really set myself up, obviously, for the rest of the day. So I wake up, I pray first. Before I do absolutely anything, I pray. I put water next to my bed before I go to sleep, because I just naturally don't drink enough water. So I always start my day with a glass of water. It's there when I wake up. I will meditate, and then I journal. I work out, and then I get into emails and all of the things.
Yeah, I got some other stuff in mind.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So before we go, let them know where they can find you.
Absolutely.
On social, website, all of the things. If there's something specific, we'll drop it in the caption. We'll just mention it. So
absolutely. So the nonprofit, again, is changingthenarrative.com. I have MilanZoe.com. You can find me on Instagram at MISSMILANZOE. And if you go to the bio in my personal Instagram, all of my companies are tagged there. So Melanin, again, which is a health and wellness space, Laniland Productions, which is the full service event and production firm, Changing the Narrative, which is the nonprofit, and then two of the companies I'm partnered in. Everything is in the bio.
Sounds good. This has been the On the PRST Podcast. Milan Zoe, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I hope you guys got a lot of value. I know I did. All right. We'll see you guys on another episode.